sea sucker soup on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region today. I'm so happy you're joining us, and we're almost at the end of the month. Oh my goodness, the month is just flying right by. We've got President's Day coming up, and also the Lunar New Year is coming up too. We have a great lineup today. If you watched our last show, we had Justyna on, and we're going to continue that conversation, finding out more about how Marlene Dietrich rides again. I guess that was the title of it, if I got it right. I remembered it right. Then we're going to be talking about historic Cherry Hill. And of course, it's Black History Month, and we'll be talking about some of their featured exhibits and what they're doing in their tours. We'll be talking to the Bunbury Players, and they are doing a tribute to Stephen Sondheim. And my goodness, what a body of work that Stephen Sondheim has. And then we're talking about the Underground Railroad. Of course, that's, again, we're talking about Black History Month. But they have an education center there. We're going to learn a little bit more about that from Paul Stewart. But just starting out with our kind of continuing with our guests that we had on our last show, Justyna is from Poland originally, and she has probably more credits to her than anybody else in the room. But anyway, let's talk, Justyna. The last time you were on, we talked about how you came here to this country and how your passion was music and musical theater and theater in general, and exploratory or improvisational theater. Let's continue that conversation. You talked about doing a show with the theme of Marlene Dietrich, who we talked earlier that I find her to be one of the most fantastic women that have ever been created. What's your take on her?
Yes, so Marlene Dietrich was quite incredible. So I was actually starring in Bound to Rise, an original show by Medicine Show Theater in 2016. We had about 30 performances, and I was singing a lot in this show. And the music director kept telling me every night when we perform, Justyna, you have to look at Marlene Dietrich. There's something about you and her that just connects for me. Please look her up. So, you know, he was a little bit of a pain in the, so he wouldn't stop until I actually looked her up and really did my research on her. The city where I come from in Poland is actually 2 hours away from Berlin. So I would go to Berlin as a child, and I would see this beautiful woman standing in a suit in some commercials. That was Marlene Dietrich.
The suit was kind of unusual for
very unusual. That is 1920s, when a woman could actually go to jail for wearing men's clothing.
Really?
Right? That's right. And that's when she said, oh, I don't care. I will do it anyway. Also, she was a huge icon of the LGBTQ community. Openly, she was the first woman to kiss another woman on a Hollywood movie screen. 1929 Morocco film. She was in the suit, and that was like the iconic scene. So the LGBTQ community, she's also a huge icon. So we used to actually go in New York City Pride parades, advertising the show when I was performing it in New York City.
Wonderful.
As well as she used her international stardom to fight the evil. And I mean, how many of these Hollywood actresses would actually get off their couch and
do something?
That's right. Instead of just collecting those millions, go and join the U.S. Army. So she left Germany because she couldn't. She already knew what was coming in 1929. She ended up in Hollywood. And then she was feeling so bad first of all, she wanted to poison Hitler. She didn't do it because she was worried about her family back in Germany. But she did everything. She spent all her money to save Jewish people from the war and brought so many of them to America, including her director, Sternberg. So she actually took him to America. He was Jewish, so he probably would ended up, right? So I just felt an enormous connection with this because my grandma was actually a slave. I'm not Jewish, to a German family. Her family was, taken when she was 5 years old.
They use people.
That's right, use people. My grandpa was in military in Poland during the war, so I felt that connection and strength to tell Marlene's story, because a lot of people, especially my age, don't know about it, that she joined the U.S. Army, that She fought for human rights, and that's why I have co-written that show with Oliver Conant, who was also one of my first directors for the show when it was starting in New York City.
So you're the clone.
I am, well, in some ways, I feel like I definitely, my life has some, definitely some
spirit is there
The
anyway.
spirit is there. And there was something that my publicist, who used to be a publicist for Rolling Stones, used to say, her name was Justyna. Judy, if you're watching this, I still remember you. She always would say, Justyna, but not only you're sitting on a gold mine, but also she would tell me, I feel like you are the reincarnation of her, because she died in 1991 and I was born in 1993. So there was something there definitely energetically that I felt very drawn to. We actually went to her grave in Berlin. I sang some of her songs. It was filmed. So a lot of connection there. And
wonderful,
I'm looking forward to continuing later this year, now that I found a female director who could stand up to the role of directing me in this show.
Well, you probably have it under your belt anyway, right?
I sure do, but it's really nice to actually have a
someone giving you
feminine
energy.
Yes,
feeling.
That's right, another feeling, and I look forward to continuing it. But it's definitely a story.
Well, we're going to watch for that coming out,
That's
and
right.
I'm sure we're going to see that, and I'm going to be there. I'll be in the first row right there.
Oh, wonderful! I was saying just for you, Ann.
But you don't only do that, because
that's right.
You have so many passions. When I read your bio and looked at the number of things that you do the equine healing, you do the dance. Tell me about the dance.
Yes, so Ecstatic Dance Troy is something that I started doing last year. It is a monthly gathering. Once a month we get together and we use dance as healing. It is last Sunday of the month, 12 to 2 p.m. The next one is coming up on February 22nd, where I collaborate with Ashley, who is going to be leading a somatic healing method. Oh my God.
She got a title. Yeah, that's okay.
So she's going to be leading the warm-up and the cool-down to this. In the middle of the section, I actually DJ and curate music. It's a sober event, so kids-friendly. All ages can come. It's really a way for us to dance and use movement, free-form movement, for healing, for release, for feeling freedom, for a communication non-verbally. So it's very artistic yet holistic. And I got into this world when the pandemic hit, and obviously I couldn't perform for a couple of years. So I reconnected with dancing, meditative dancing. I actually went to India, where I studied Osho Active Meditations in Pune for 6 months. So I really, learned to my core, and now I want to bring it to the Western people, what I've learned there, and that's what I've been doing. So,
but all through history, dance has been part of every single culture.
You're absolutely right. So it's nothing new, really. I mean, ecstatic dance was remembered again in Hawaii in the year 2000. That's when it popped up again, that kind of movement of using dance for healing, but also Native Americans. I mean, we are on the land of Native Americans, and what do they do for healing? Sing. They dance. When you come to a Native American person and you say, I'm really depressed, they ask you, when did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing?
That is interesting.
When did you stop being in nature? So
that's,
I have chills when I talk about this, because all of this connects for me.
I've been to a number of powwows, and it just makes me so sad to think that what we
That's right.
I didn't personally, but we did as a nation.
Absolutely.
Did to the Native Americans.
Absolutely, yeah, me too. So, that's why I'm really, really committed to these gatherings where all the people are welcome, and I want to, reconnect us through different ways than just, talking, because we do a lot of that in our everyday lives.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a psychologist, you know this, but there's more to it.
That's a different way, and there actually has been a lot of scientific studies that dancing, free-form movement, opens up different neurological connections in your brain that heal depression. It's actually more effective right now than an antidepressant, dancing.
I believe that.
It's unbelievable. And, we've been growing community in Troy right now. We do it at Mount Ida Preservation Association. Shout out to Michael, the executive director. I'm really grateful for this
he's a great guy. Easterbrook.
Great guy. I'm really grateful. It is still...
Esterbrook,
That's right. It is still produced by my nonprofit company, because it's an arts company. And, we're committed to continue doing it. I also did similar events in Poland, in India, as well as in New York City. So this is just a continuation of it. And yes, and that's also part of me to bring the healing through art to other people.
But speaking of healing, you also do equine.
That's right. So horses actually has been my first love. When I turned 5, I remember driving with my parents in Poland by a gas station and noticing a small pony standing in a fenced-in area. Very weird, like one pony in a fenced-in area. That was like, I don't know, 27 years ago. And I said, Mommy, let me, out of the car. So I ran out of the car, go to this horse, and it bites me in my stomach.
What an introduction.
And that was my first love. I fell in love. I mean, so that's when I knew that.
A little nibble there?
Yes, a little nibble there. And that's when I knew that, of course, that didn't scare me. I said to my mother, I'm going to ride horses. Of course, then she said, absolutely not. This is dangerous. So I would literally, secretly, Mom, I hope you're not watching it. Secretly, I would ride my bike to the stable and ended up volunteering there, being a lot around horses. But of course, at the time, I didn't understand like the scientific reason of the holistic healing of horses.
The rhythm.
The rhythm, their energy. Yeah. So there's actually...
I love to horseback ride, so that's...
It's incredible.
I know what you're talking.
And it's not just about horseback riding, because that can be, even from like a physical therapy perspective, amazing for your body, especially if you have some disability.
Yeah, and there's one in Saratoga that does that.
That's right, yeah, that's right. The movement, I actually studied the PAF, which is a way of being a therapeutic riding instructor, so I am certified in that. But recently I started getting into the world of just being around horses and holding these workshops with fire horse healing. This is the perfect year to try
and what is it?
Fire horse healing.
The Lunar New Year.
That's right, Lunar New Year. So I started that organization, and we are hosting workshops mostly in warmer months. Mm-hmm. We rolled out a new collaboration with a place in Dover Plains, which is about 1.5 hours south from here, about 2 hours away from New York City. And we do these workshops once a month. The next one is coming up in April, where for 5 hours you get to interact with horses in the field and do different holistic exercises to get you to work on yourself with that energy. And there is a real reason, everybody who's watching it, why are horses so phenomenal in this. So first of all, their electromagnetic field is 5 times bigger than ours. So our aura is about this big. Theirs is 5 times bigger. And their heart rate is twice slower than ours, and they're huge animals. So regulation around horses comes very naturally. Yeah. They also mirror our emotions in a nonverbal way, so that talk psychotherapy just doesn't even come up close to the kind of experiences we've been seeing and transformation that people have been going through. So it's a really, my goal in my life is to open up a holistic healing center to include theater, arts, singing, dancing, horses. That is the plan. And
we're almost out of time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before our segment is done? Because you are such an amazing woman.
Thank you. So are you.
You're an amazing woman.
So are you. There's a reason why we connected. I'm just really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to have been introduced to the Capital District area by Don Rittner 11 years ago. I'm really grateful for Marcom pianist, who was an amazing addition to my Dietrich show, and hopefully we'll continue that collaboration. And grateful for all of you to continue bringing arts to this region. So thank you, everybody.
We love arts. I tell you, it's so important it's a creative thing, and we've got to get more people to be creative.
That's
rather than being structured all the time.
Absolutely. That is a way to heal, and that is a way for us to uplift and find ourselves again in everything that's happening in the world.
It's been a pleasure to meet you, and
likewise.
I'm sure we'll meet again.
Thank you so much, Ann.
Lots of good stuff. We're going to switch over here, and we're going to talk to a place that I don't believe I've ever been to.
We have to change that.
What? We're going to change that. The Cherry Hill Historic. Tell me a little bit about it, because you've got 3 people here. First of all, introduce yourselves to the audience.
Sure. I'm Deborah Emmons-Andarawis. I'm the
executive director, right?
My name's Doren. I'm the Director of Education.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Carol Durant. I am the Marketing and Community Engagement Associate.
Yeah, and you're a pretty amazing person from what I've seen.
I don't know, Ann. My check must have cleared.
Okay. So, first of all, tell us where the historic Cherry Hill is located, and what would we see when we go there? And I don't know who wants to address that.
I can give you a little overview of Cherry Hill. We're a historic house museum. We're located... we're sometimes known as the Yellow House on the Hill. We're located right on South Pearl Street in the south end of Albany.
Okay.
The historic site, the house was built in 1787.
So it's a historic building.
It is, yes. One of the oldest buildings in Albany. It was originally built for Philip Van Rensselaer, but what I think is a lot more interesting and more significant, it was lived in over the course of nearly 200 years by certainly his descendants, but also people who were enslaved, hired help, extended family member, paying boarders, and all of those people left artifacts, documents, and stories
and so
behind.
You have them there.
We have, our collections include 65,000 artifacts and manuscripts that really just document the stories that are held within this.
Now, how long was it used as a house? There were people lived in.
It was nearly 200 years. It was lived in all the way until 1963, when the last descendant of this branch of the Van Rensselaer family passed away.
And that's when you took over.
Yeah, well, the museum opened in 1964, so it opens just within a year of Emily Rankin's passing. Okay. And it's it has the feel to this day of kind of like a time capsule, because everything is so well documented. All of the collections sort of relate to one another. It's very different from other historical societies that may have representative antiques and use a lot of guesswork, even scholarly guesswork. But at Cherry Hill, we know so much more than at many other historic sites, because we have all the papers, and it's a very personal experience for that reason as well. We have the very words of the people that lived in the house.
There. Yeah. Okay. Now you have your education director, I would say. What do you do as the education? Do you create programs for schools? Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. So we have so much information at Cherry Hill. Working in the education department is our way of bringing it all to the community. From people near and far, we have out-of-town visitors, and then our local neighbors. And we do offer a variety of programs for students, different field trips where we encourage kids to come and visit historic Cherry Hill, or we can bring historic Cherry Hill to them in their classroom. And we do different programs for all ages that really encourage kind of interdisciplinary investigation using the historic resources that we've studied. Our programs will have students reading the words of people who used to live in Cherry Hill.
And this was the Dutch came in first. They were the first wave. Van Rensselaers were the Dutch, right?
Yes, yes.
So they built that house, is that it?
The house was built by Philip Van Rensselaer. So this was during the English period, though.
During the English period.
It was after the Revolution.
So I would assume that this house has had renovations or not?
I have to take back, I just said it was during the English period. It was actually built after the English period. It was built in the same year the Constitution was ratified.
Okay.
So one more transition, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So how, have there been a lot of renovations, or is this pretty much the way it was, except for wallpaper? I don't know.
There have been some changes to the house over the years, but really the main structure of the house, there's a whole lot of original fabric to 1787. Mm-hmm. We, in recent years, have undergone a major capital campaign. We're about to embark on another phase of it to stabilize the structure and restore it. So our interior restoration was completed. We were closed for a period of time and reopened just after the pandemic. Okay. But you can see original hardware, and you can also see some of the changes that took place over the years.
I'm sure the kitchen has changed quite a bit.
Yes, and they added a new kitchen off of the dining room. The original kitchen was in the basement. There was a dumbwaiter that was put in the 1870s, and when they were no longer using the basement kitchen, they closed that up and put a lovely china cupboard. So those are some of the neat changes.
Those are the changes. Okay,
yeah.
and we have Carol back there. She hasn't said much back there. She's the marketing director in marketing. Tell me how you market this, because this is a jewel in Albany.
It is a jewel. We are online at your favorite social media site. If we're not on your favorite social media site, let us know and we will join.
Get there.
Yes, absolutely. Because again, we know there's so many. But we would love everyone in your audience, anywhere, that you follow us online, come visit us during our tour, which we'll talk about shortly, and we open in May officially.
So you closed for the winter, is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, Yes,
Okay.
it can be hard to access the site at certain times of the winter.
Yeah, see, I don't know where this is, and I've lived here all my life, and this is the first I've really, I might have heard Cherry Hill, but that was like somewhere out here somewhere.
And we are a secret no longer.
No, don't be a secret.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I noticed that because of Black History Month, you're doing a special on, I forgot the person's name, I'm sorry.
William James Knapp.
James, okay. Tell us a little bit, who wants to talk about him?
The boss.
Okay.
I'll
jump in on here.
You all can jump in whenever you want. So William James Knapp is the focus of the tour. And this...
Was he a slave?
No, he lived at Cherry Hill during the late 19th century.
Okay, so that was,
but
beyond that.
He was actually descended from a woman named Dinah Jackson, who was the last person enslaved at Cherry Hill. She lived at Cherry Hill. Slavery legally ended in New York in 1827.
Yeah.
So she was free at that point, and we believe continued to stay on at Cherry Hill. There's evidence to that effect. But we have documentation.
As an employee, I hope. And get paid?
So that I can't
I won't
say.
go there.
Yeah,
but it just seems like you're free. Okay, now let's just start treating you that way.
Right, yeah. And unfortunately, that often was not the case.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't have specific documentation for Cherry Hill, but I would surmise that she probably continued on as
in
a
the
free
same capacity,
person, but for room and board and being provided for.
Okay,
that would be my guess.
And she may have had some affection for the people that she worked for too.
Those are questions like we don't know the answers
to.
There was certainly proximity, right?
Yeah.
She was a part of the household, so it's an interesting thing to wonder about.
But you have the papers.
We have a number. We don't have the papers that tell us everything, of course, but we can document when she arrived at Cherry Hill, and also we can trace the generations between her and William James Knapp. So we know that, while Dinah
was the mother of James Knapp.
Yeah, no, Dinah was the great-grandmother.
Oh, the great-grandmother.
Yeah,
that's
so
right. It couldn't have possibly been that. Yeah.
There's this multi-generation. Often what people know about Cherry Hill is the Van Rensselaers. They know, it's the 5-generation home of the Van Rensselaer family. But what we're realizing is that there's another line of descent there. There's Dinah Jackson and her descendants. And
they all stayed there, you're saying?
No, not
then how did he get connected with you?
Yeah, so Dinah had a daughter named Deanne, and we have, Deanne lived during the period of gradual abolition, and we have documentation that mention her in that regard and her infant child. Her infant child's name was Jane. Jane went on to marry a man named James Knapp, and we know that they were living in Hudson, New York. Jane had 4 children, including William James Knapp, but she died in childbirth. And after that, it seems that the 4 children were sort of sent up to Albany or collected by the Van Rensselaers and raised.
So that's how that happened. Okay, I was just trying to make that connection there. So that's.
And you see that there was some kind of connection between the families that was maintained throughout
it sounds like there was more to it than just employer-employee type thing.
Yeah. So James and his siblings were placed in Van Rensselaer households. His little sister Minnie was only 2 years old, and she lived at Cherry Hill. James also lived in Albany, but not at Cherry Hill. He was at the home of Richard Van Rensselaer, and from the age of 11, he was trained to be a butler. But he spent a lot of time at Cherry Hill because on his day off, he visited his sister Minnie there and spent time with Minnie and with the Van Rensselaers.
So you're doing kind of a tribute to him. And Carol, you mentioned about tours. So tell me a little bit about the tours.
So February 28th, we are going to open. We hope
That's just in a few days.
Yes, and we hope Mother Nature will be nicer to us than she has been in order for the tours to happen at 11 a.m., 12 noon, 1 p.m., and 2 p.m. so you, Ann, and everyone else can come and take a tour.
I'm going to write it down because
Please
I
do.
want to see this place.
Please do.
Yeah. So what will I see at the tour?
You're going to see artifacts. You're going to learn about William James Knapp, his trunk, and his instruments that he played.
He's a musician.
He is a musician. He played the violin, and you will see the original piano that we used last year. Got it restored, and it is there, and it is beautiful, and we might even let you touch it.
You don't want me to play it, though.
Okay.
That's a no-no. So I could do chopsticks, maybe. So yeah, this sounds like an experience that people really need to. How? I guess, like I say, I'm just not familiar with it. What happened that we aren't hearing more about this? Is it like because you've been closed for a while, or renovations, or what?
I mean, it could be because most nonprofits tend to be under-resourced, and we don't have a huge marketing budget. So it can.
Wait a minute, we got Carol here.
Yeah, and Carol is amazing and spreads the word.
We got Blue Sky, we got Facebook, we got all the others that are out there,
and we are on
LinkedIn.
Yes, so we definitely are trying to get connected to all the social media and get the presence. And think of yourself going on 787 South, looking on the right and going, I know that house. It's the gold yellow house on the hill. So most people have seen it, but never been in it.
Is it like at the end of Pearl Street? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, right at the end of Pearl.
Right.
There's
so
a baseball field up above that, or two? Yeah, I think so.
yes.
I kind of know the area a little bit.
Right. So we're trying to change. We want everybody to come to the South End and experience historic Cherry Hill, learn about the Black descendants and inhabitants that have lived there amongst and worked for and with and
created a heritage.
Right, and the Van Rensselaers, because again, their story is unknown until now.
Yeah, we're going to be talking with the Underground Railroad shortly, and it's an important part of our New York history, as far as I'm concerned, because
Absolutely.
I'm assuming that there were a lot of slaves that came, or I hate to use that word, but that is the word that we use, I guess, that were coming up from the South to try and find freedom, and I hope that we contributed to that.
Absolutely.
And we'll hear more about that from the Underground Railroad. I would like to suggest that people check out Cherry Hill. I know I will. The 28th.
The
I'm
28th.
going to check my calendar, but I'm going to try and be there. That's the last day of the month, right?
Yeah.
It is.
So I'm going to check and see. And because I would like to really, to me, history is very important. It just kind of gives you a feeling of community or belonging, or there's something that cements you to the area once you start learning about the history of that area.
And what you can also do is give us a call and schedule a group tour. So let's say everybody here at Capital Region today, you all come as a group.
Well, that would be cool. Yeah. I also run another organization. I'll work on that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Good. But thank you all for being here. And thank you so much for bringing this to my attention, number one, whoever contacted me. Carol, thank you very much, Carol. Contacted me. I am so pleased to be able to promote what you're doing and to, I guess I want to use the word raise awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're doing a good job, Carol.
Thank you.
Okay, good. We're going to go over here, and we're talking to our next group, which is the Bunbury Players. They've been on before. Hi, Garrett. Good to see you again. Yes. And you do such really interesting plays.
Well, we try to at least.
Yeah, but this is not a play.
No, this is it's a musical review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's Stephen Sondheim?
Who
For
is?
those of you who don't know.
Yeah. Google. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, Stephen Sondheim, probably the most important theater writer, musical theater writer of the latter half of the 20th century.
And his music is different. I think most of his style is different. I think it's almost an acquired taste sometimes.
You may say it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he has some of, there's so many famous songs that when you hear them, you go, oh, yes, of course I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's his, yeah.
But then, absolutely, there are some more that are a little like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But they
did
still...
he do In the Woods?
Into the
Woods,
Woods, yes.
Into the Woods, yeah.
Yep.
I love that. That's such a great
Yeah. So I think our show really has a great mix of all of the different specter of his work, right? We've got some of the ones that everyone knows and loves and has heard before a million times, but then we also have some songs that never made it to the final cut of a show.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How did you find them?
That's all Garrett.
That's the internet. No. That's good. No, yeah.
So who's the producer of the show?
Lauren Risley is our producer, but our organization, I'm the director, and Hanna here is the music.
Because somebody had to put it together.
Well, this is your baby.
Well, it's a collaboration.
Yes,
it was a collaboration.
Okay.
So
yeah, this is the.
He's so shy.
He's so humble.
This is.
It wasn't me.
This is actually we'll call it a revisal of a version of the same show I did 10 years ago now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, in Hudson Falls at it's the Strand now. It used to be the Hudson River Music Hall. What it was that production actually raised money to
make it. Yes.
So a lot of it is the same, but a lot of it is different. It's completely new cast. And
so now, did you do you put it together, so you picked the songs, right?
Right.
And is there choreography involved with it?
There's a little bit of staging, yeah.
A little staging?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to more focus on the music and the songs.
Is there any narrative with it, so that you can kind of bring people through his career or through his styles? Or
not really. What we tried to do once we picked the songs together, I tried to put what songs would flow well into the next one in terms of theming. That's what I try to do, more theming. We've tried to do things with narrative, and people actually prefer not narrative, believe it or not.
Yeah, what's so great is...
You're the musical director.
Yes, so I'm the music director. I've been happy to work with Bunbury before on a handful of other shows, and Garrett and I have been working together for a few years now, and now I'm on the board, so it's been such a lovely time. And we picked our songs, we found our incredible cast that are people from all over the Capital Region.
How many in the cast?
Oh, what have we got?
13.
13, yes.
So you got 13 numbers at least.
Oh, goodness, yes.
I think it's with the opening, with the two instrumentals, it's 24.
It's about a 90-minute show.
90-minute show, yep.
But what's so great about being able to pick the songs once we found the right people is we were able to pick songs that are great as music, but also the themes are universal, right? So we might not know exactly when in the show that they come from, what's the story that's going on, but it's the great thing about Sondheim is he writes such universal themes and stories that can, reach so many different people at any time in their life, which is part of what we're trying to do, and just celebrate this great composer and all of the brains that came out of this man and made this music.
Well, the fact that he did so many and they all were on Broadway, he wasn't just shabby. It was quite well respected.
Absolutely, and we have incredible musicians, and it's we've got people who are software engineers and people who, very, very normal average lives, and then we come together.
Yeah, one person who was on Broadway at one point.
I guess at one point,
yeah.
Really?
And then we all come together on a Wednesday and a Sunday night to rehearse, and they sound incredible and bring their A game, and it makes my job incredibly easy, which is great.
Well, the nice part is they can rehearse at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to make sure everybody's in the same room at the same time.
We held auditions in December, so it gave him, because we started rehearsals at the end of January, so it gave him, a month to prep, and you can tell they all did their homework.
Yes.
So you had auditions. Did they come with a Sondheim song?
We assigned, when we set out the audition notice, we send out cuts as well. We post them on our website.
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by cuts.
So we take a portion of a song that we think we're going to want to have in the show.
Oh, I see.
And we cut out, let's say, 20 to 32 bars, which ends up being about a minute of music.
Okay.
And we pick a handful of them to cover all the different voice parts. And we say, pick the one that you are most comfortable singing, right?
Fits.
And it gives them time to practice and
I don't know that this is unusual, isn't it, to do that? I don't know of, I mean, this is the first I've heard of it, in all my years.
I've seen it all different ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
That they send the music. I didn't.
The reason why we specifically did it this way is because the music is so stylized, and Sondheim is known for, more difficult rhythms, and
He is. I mean, I know that. Yeah.
I think what we were mostly looking for.
Being able to follow the rhythms and the story arcs and the notation and everything.
Clarity is a big thing.
Yeah. So maybe it was more important to do it this way than for any other show.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really was specific to our show, and we were, we had the happy problem of having a great audition slate to pick from, which was wonderful.
So it's hard though when you get all that talent and then you don't know who to cut. You don't want to cut any of them.
Exactly.
So can we throw in another song?
Right.
I think we had twice the amount of people that we ended up casting, at least audition.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So a happy problem for us to have.
Yeah. Okay, so before we got to tell people where it's going to be, when it's going to be, and more about it.
So it's at the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library.
Okay, do they have a special room?
There's on the second floor, there's a big, it's like a performance
multi-purpose
room.
Yeah.
It's actually 2 rooms that they combined into one big room. And there's a stage and everything.
Oh, really? That's really unusual for a library. That's great.
Oh, yeah. And the show it's at the end of March. So it's at March 27th and 28th.
Okay.
At 7 p.m.
7 p.m., yep. And then the 29th is at 2.
Okay. And they're already rehearsing, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've been in rehearsals, and they're going wonderfully.
Yeah.
And the shows are free to the public, which is really important.
But you do like a donation.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, you don't have to pay any royalties for this one, do you?
Right. No.
Because you've written it yourself.
Yeah.
That's a big plus because royalties can really.
Yes, they can. But as a group, we're so focused on bringing free community theater to the public.
You've always done that.
It's been so nice.
You've done it in the summer. You've done it you've really done it a lot, and I really respect the fact that you love theater, number one, and that you go out and you just do it.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, no matter what we're doing, we try to make it accessible to everyone.
Yeah, because it's, and I don't know, but, for the past few shows that I've done, we've talked about bringing it to young people and making sure that we, I guess, inoculate them.
Right. Well,
is that an awful word to use? But,
here's the thing. When young people can't afford to see, older people, the economy, come on. I don't have to say anything.
Yeah, if we're able to lower that barrier of entry for, anyone who wants to see a concert or a musical or a play, that's part of why we do what we do. And it's so great, having been able to work with Bunbury for the past couple of years. They are so committed to doing that, and the quality that they bring is so excellent. It's just the best job in the world.
Yeah, I like I say, I love theater, and I do have a lot of people with theater skills coming on the show because I guess it's a passion of mine the first time I saw a live theater, I think my mother was an amazing woman, and she brought me to a live theater, and it was like, this is like real people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I knew movies and things, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right.
You could do it right, yeah.
Well, there's some I can't remember the exact number, but it's like the likelihood of people seeing theater if they've never seen a show before the age of, say, 7 or 8, it drops by half, right? So
I am not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
So we try to have so many different shows that appeal to different age ranges as well. So it's really.
Do you do any children's shows? Where children participate.
We have before. We're looking at possibly doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's so many groups for children, though, is the thing.
Yeah, the area is so blessed with children's theater.
Well, our whole area is very well blessed with having
absolutely,
so much theater. What I mean, I don't. You're familiar with Patrick White, of course.
Yes.
Who isn't? You know, everybody knows Patrick White. And you go ahead and see how many groups he has brought together, you know, to form a consortium.
Yep.
How important that is.
Yeah. I teach at a performing arts academy in Del Mar, and the number of kids that we have that are just always doing something, whether it's at school or community theater, is great. So we hope that parents will feel like they can bring their kids to the show because they can. Yeah. But also, you know, no matter ages 1 to 99 are more than welcome to come.
Open it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
come
right.
and enjoy
Absolutely.
it. So this is going to be held at the Clifton Park Half Moon Library on the second floor, and it's what dates?
The 27th, 28th, and 29th of March.
So you're doing 3 performances?
We're doing 3, yep.
Okay, and are they all in the afternoon, evening? Where are they?
The first 2, Friday and Saturday, are at 7, and then Sundays at 2.
At 2. And in donations, you'll take a donation?
Yeah, we have a $20 suggested donation, but we're not going to turn anyone away.
No, you're not going to turn any, because you're trying to get people to be exposed to this.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is you're going to have a great turnout.
Well, I
You've got
appreciate
to, because who doesn't love to hear more music and to pay a tribute to such a wonderful composer and lyricist. He did his own lyrics too, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
He did it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I recall correctly, that was it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
good.
it.
We're going to continue with our theme of Black History Month and talk about the Underground Railroad Education Center. Paul,
Yes.
so good to
Hi,
see
Ann.
you again.
Thank you. It's great to see you again.
I know it. It's been, his son used to help on our show, and I really, I missed him, and I caught up earlier to find out how Joel is doing. Yeah. And Mary Liz could not join you today.
Yeah, she had actually, maybe a week or so ago, a little more than a week ago, she got a splinter in her foot.
Oh, no.
And it was pretty deep. So
but
she actually,
those are dangerous.
yeah, she actually had to get had a brief operation on it. And it was interesting because the operation, I think, like took 8 minutes. But, you know, the prep for it, you know, come in advance.
Yeah, come in
know,
and you do all these tests and we're going to do this and that.
And then she's got to do, you know, like I think 10 days or 14 days
antibiotics
recuperation afterwards. So she's still kind of at home with her feet up, working but with her feet up.
Yeah, well, I hope that, you know, what an awful thing to have happen. Yeah, I mean, and it's an accident. It just, you didn't plan on it.
Well, yeah, that's the weird thing about accidents.
It gets in your way of life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
the Underground Railroad, you've been around a long time with this. I know that.
Yeah, we started about 25 years ago.
Yeah, well, I think you came on when you first started because I've been doing the show 28 years, so there you go.
Yeah. So, 25 years ago, and initially, you know, Mary was when we started, Mary Liz was teaching 5th grade, and she had been teaching her students about the Underground Railroad by having them read a chapter book and do some discussions.
And they did not even know what it was, right?
Right. And so she wanted to bring stories of real people into her classroom. And at the time, I was working for a social service agency, but writing on the side for a community newspaper. And I had already done some articles on kind of related, but we thought we'd put our energies together and see what we could learn. And at first we went around and, you know, we went to a bunch of people we thought were experts. People probably didn't even know a lot about this. And they said nothing much happened in the area, right? This was 25 years ago.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we thought, okay, you know, because that's when you're doing anything, you know, you go to somebody,
start somewhere,
right? And people will tell you things, and you sort of like say, well, that's the starting point.
Yeah.
You know, and so we started looking around, and what we found very shortly on our own was that everything kind of contradicted what they had said to us.
Because they didn't know.
Yeah, because they didn't know. So we found tons of things, and at first we thought it would be great to share this with a broader audience. We thought we'd do like a walking tour, so we did this walking tour program downtown. We just, you know, put it together. We thought it would be a good way to bring attention to the stories, to help us learn the stories better, and then share it with other people.
Because you had nothing to work with other than what the research you did.
Right. So, so we did that for a while, and while we were doing that, we were still doing further research. And then we thought, well, we'd like to go to a conference.
Are there conferences?
Well, there weren't at the time. Okay. There were a couple things around the country, but there was nothing local. Okay. So we decided to organize one because we couldn't find one to go to. So we organized one.
Yeah, have your own party.
Yeah, and we had we invited a speaker who was the author of one of the books that we had read that we thought was very informative, and then we did it at a local church, and we got, I'd say 3 or 4 times as many people turned out for it than we thought. Wow. Might have turned out for it. So we were pretty excited. We committed to doing it again, and one of the people said, bring your program up to the College of St. Rose. So we did it at the College of St. Rose for the next several years. And while we were doing this conference program, we found more information, and then we found a historic house.
I was going to say, how did you find that house?
So we found this house that was tied into the story that nobody had really given too much thought to.
Was it used as part of the?
It was a house where the Vigilance Committee of the Underground Railroad had met, and where Stephen and Harriet Myers, who were key people.
It's called the Myers House.
Yeah, we're calling it the Stephen and Harriet Myers Historic Site, but where they had lived for a couple of years, and so, combined with their story. Finding this building that was a tangible artifact where they had lived, and then working on restoring it. I mean, that was so. So then we had created a nonprofit organization to support the conference, and we asked that nonprofit board if they'd be willing to work on the restoration. And they said yes, so we got into it.
So did you buy the house?
So our group bought the house.
Okay. So it's owned by the corporation.
It's owned by the corporation. We originally, when we approached the owner, we said, your house has got this wonderful story. We'd like to help you fix it up. And I know that I didn't have much in my mind in terms of what was going to be involved in helping. But a friend of ours... It
was an idea.
Yeah, it was an idea. And a friend of ours who was working on for New York State Parks said that if it's a historic building and you can get the building on the National Register, the state of New York can provide some money to help fix up the building. So that's the approach we took, and we figured, well, the story was the Underground Railroad story. This ought to be of enough significance to get it on the National Register. So we went through that process, got it on the National Register, and then we began the process of restoration. We've been working on that for a little over 20 years now.
Now, it's an education center. But do you have artifacts in there? Is it part of partial museum? Tell me more about it.
So what we've tried to do is to style it as a historic house, because that's a common way that a lot of places are done. And I know you had Cherry Hill on here. That's a historic house. And so what we had there was a historic house that had a lot of original woodwork and a lot of original features of the house from 1847 when the house was built.
Right, yeah. And they used a lot of good talent to build
but
it.
we had nothing else in there, so we brought a lot of things in that were relevant to the region
and the time period.
So we actually got some furniture from various people in the community that was 1840s, 1850s furniture.
Okay.
And we sort of put our office in there, a little workspace. And then we tried to use the house as a place that would tell the story. So we've got a library on the 2nd floor, we've got an exhibit room, we've got some workrooms on the 3rd floor, but one of those workrooms is an archaeology workroom where we store archaeological artifacts.
You're doing an amazing thing.
Yeah. So we, from this building, we do youth programs. We do programs for adults and seniors and families. We do a lot of outreach type programs, so where we go out and speak to different groups and whatnot. The archaeology that we've done some on the site. We've done some on some sites that are close by, some other neighborhood lots. And we've done some, we've gotten volunteers together to go and do what I call expeditions to different locations. Like we helped a fellow downstate near Poughkeepsie to get a site that he was involved with on the National Register because we were able to bring an archaeological.
Are you working with SUNY at all? I mean, with their departments?
We do have some work that we do with the SUNY Public History Department.
Yeah, okay.
And we have worked also with the, I want to say the Sociology Department there. Okay. And the other colleges too. The colleges have been really great support for the work that we're doing because they'll bring a whole class of people down, or maybe they'll mobilize volunteers, like SUNY has a community volunteer program, and they've been really helpful. St. Rose was really helpful too, until its
too bad,
demise. Yeah.
But okay, so for those of you who are watching and say, was this a real railroad?
Yeah, so the Underground Railroad,
because people don't always understand.
Sure.
Railroad means movement.
Yeah, and there was a book that came out just a few years ago by Colson Whitehead, and he used the symbolism of the Underground Railroad, but he didn't help dispel the myth of the railroad as a railroad. It's not really a railroad.
No, it's a movement.
A network of people, a movement, and people would use
They would move them from here to here to here to safe places.
There's a story that actually comes from one of the abolitionist newspapers here in the region, the Tocsin of Liberty, which was an abolitionist newspaper. And it said that the first place that term Underground Railroad appeared in print was in that newspaper. There was an Underground Railroad activist in Washington, D.C. that was writing to the newspaper, and he wrote a letter, and the letter went something like this: where do all those slaveholders think that all of these people are disappearing to? Disappearing into hot air balloons, or maybe on an underground railroad? All right, so that was the first use in print.
That's where they first, which was pretty, it's a good term to use.
And then the term was already being popularized, I think, but that was the first time it appeared in print.
Yeah, so they would, once they got to one place, then they would say, well, you're safe to go at a certain date, time, this next
more or less, and there are actually a lot of different.
They talked about quilts being.
Well, let's come back to that. There are a lot of different ways in which people proceeded in the Underground Railroad, and one of the things that there's no one single way that it always happened that way. So there were people who went maybe to one house and then to another, but then there were other people who maybe got to Philadelphia, where there was an organized group there in Philadelphia, and they wouldn't just, they might send them by wagon, but they might send them on the train, because by the 1850s, trains were coming into vogue. And so even though the idea of the Underground Railroad stretches back into the 1830s and early 1840s, when trains were not quite so popular, but existed, by the time you get into the 1850s, sometimes activists were using the trains, get tickets, get people on a train to go. So they'd go from Philadelphia to New York City, and then once they were in New York City, a common way to get from New York City to get upstate would be to use the steamboats and the other boats that were operating on the Hudson River.
By water, they probably less.
and that kind of brings us around to our to the historic house, because the historic house was actually owned by John Johnson. Right, we're calling it the Stephen and Harriet Myers Historic Site because Stephen and Harriet lived there in the mid 1850s. But John Johnson was the one who built the building, and he was a boat captain. He was a black boat captain.
Well, I was just going to ask you this. When we talk about the Underground Railroad, were these whites that were helping, or was it a combination?
It was a combination of both blacks and whites. People frequently remember or hear about Quakers being involved.
The Quakers,
and almost universally, but not universally, Quakers were white. There were other groups, other church groups, Congregationalists, Methodists, Baptists, etc., who were involved in helping folk. But it was blacks and whites, networks of blacks and whites that were very much
the free blacks, the ones that were free. Yeah.
Right, and that's an important point. So when we think about the people in that period, you had about probably 3 to 4 million blacks in the South that were enslaved, but you had about 500,000 blacks in the North that were free.
Yeah, we're free.
All right, so that was part of the backbone of the Underground Railroad.
And then, of course, we talk about Texas.
Yeah, Texas is another story. Yeah, they waited a while. That's where the Juneteenth has come from. So when the war was, the Civil War was over, April 20. There was emancipation in 1863, but then the war was over in April of 1865, and it wasn't until June 19th that people were informed in Texas that the war was over.
And they still didn't want it.
Yeah, and that's where Juneteenth came from. Yeah.
They were still stubborn down there. Anyway. Well, they had, a labor force that they didn't want to give up on.
Right. And that's an important way to look at what was going on there.
Oh, it's all about
labor.
Of it.
It was all about labor.
Economics.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it was really all about that we got free labor. Why would we get rid of it? No.
Yeah.
So
the Stephen and Harriet Myers Historic Site, we do a lot of different programs out of there. We do a teen program. We have what we call our Museum Studies Teen Program, which is something that we're developing. We had a grant from the Institute for Museum and Library Services for that.
You get any NISCA grants?
That got cut.
You get any NISCA grants?
We do get some support from NISCA. That's great. And we've been working on these things for a number of years, and we're kind of bulging at the seams in terms of our work. And so we're looking at building another building on some lots that are immediately east of where we are. At 194 Livingston Avenue. So we're doing some fundraising for that, yes.
So if anybody wants to learn more about it, I'm assuming you can go to your website.
undergroundrailroadhistory.org.
Yeah.
And also we're doing a fundraiser toward the end of this month called We Speak, We Sing, We Rise. It's going to be at the Love Center on Whitehall Road in Albany. The tickets are $20.
Send me that information.
Okay, I'll send that information
please send it,
to you.
And I'll promote it too
thank you.
on my social media and everything. I just want to tell you who's coming up on the next show. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Of course, do I have the right sheet? Probably not. But anyway, no, I guess I don't have my list of oh, it's on the screen. It's on the screen. There it is. Let me read it. We got the Albany Civic Theater. We got the Albany Symphony coming, Harbinger. We have the Love Letters and Lost. That's an interesting production that's coming up too. We have the Museum of Innovation and Science coming up again, Schenectady Civic Players. Oh my goodness. We've got so much coming up. We've got a student activist coming on, which is my first time, that has been very outspoken about what's going on in this country. And so I thought, let's give them a voice. Right?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Keep it going.
Keep the young people.
Thank you all. We've been talking with Paul Stewart and Mary Liz. His wife could not make it. They're co-founders of the Underground Railroad, the Harriet and
Stephen and Harriet
Myers house. Yes. Yeah. And it's so nice to see
you
on the show.
You,
yeah, I'm sorry Mary Liz couldn't join us.
Yeah.
I'm Ann Pearl. You're watching Capital Region Today. Thank you so much for watching. My timer has been a little bit wonky, so I'm not sure how much time I have. So anyways, I'm closing the show. Thanks for watching.